I'm recording, so go ahead and start it up and break a leg.
Welcome to the College Football Show on the Sports Talk 9 Network, where we talk sport 24/7, 365. I'm your host, Spinksy, and today I'm going solo. So bear with me, guys. But before we start, I want you to hit that subscribe button, give us a like, rate, and review, comment, do all that stuff. You know what you got to do. On today's show, I want to talk about the start of the college football season. Are we going to start on time? Are there going to be a shortened season? Is it going to be extended a bit? I'll give you all the insight that you need. We're also going to talk about 7 best transfers for this season. Guys who will make an immediate impact on their team. Can't wait. Let's go. Righto, so the start of the season, there's been so much talk around if the season will start on time. Back in March, the world was put into lockdown because of this virus that we're having. Fast forward 5 months, and the NCAA has come out and said they would like schools to return on the 1st of June, which is Tuesday Monday coming up. So it looks like we'll have a season go ahead with the first game being late August. The first game was set to be Notre Dame versus Navy in Ireland. Honestly, I can't see that game going ahead, but week 1, starting on the 3rd of September, the week after, should be a go. It looks like training will start again very soon. All schools will be back next week, so stay focused on the Sports Talk Line site, where we'll have full coverage always of everything that you need to know. So stick with us, we've got you covered. Righto. I want to talk about the 7 best transfers this year. It seems to be these days that kids will play 4 games in a season and sit out the rest of that year to keep their eligibility for the year after. Gone are the days of young kids coming through the high school system, coming up into college, and you stay with your team for 3 or 4 years and they develop you. These days, it's more about kids transferring across schools to find the best fit for them. Joe Burrow with LSU. I've had several Alabama guys come and go. The big teams don't seem to want to keep these youngsters going all the way through. They seem to want to get them from other schools, which is okay. I see that being a thing of the future. So let's talk about the 7 best kids going forward. We've got quarterback Jamie Newman. Now, Jamie Newman come from Wake Forest to Georgia. Now, Newman was sensational with Wake Forest. He had at 6'4", 230 pounds. He has a strong arm and he moves quick. And he'll bring some attacking force to Georgia, who no longer have Jake Fromm. So Fromm left to join the NFL this year, or last year. And so there's going to be a huge hole there for Georgia going forward. I see this being good for Georgia. They were so strong last year in the SEC West, but they struggled to get across LSU in the SEC title game. They were absolutely thrashed. So Georgia's always been a run-first offense, but I think they've now lost DeAndre Swift. So having got Jamie Newman there now, they'll be a throw-first offense, which will certainly help them going forward. I can't see LSU being a threat to Georgia this year. I think it's going to be Bama and Georgia on either side of the SEC. So you put those two together in the SEC title game, and I actually think Georgia will go all the way this year. Now, in the Georgia camp, they're going to have D'Wan Mathis. Now, D'Wan Mathis is the incumbent quarterback with Georgia. He's been there for about 3 seasons, I think now. He recently had surgery to remove a cyst. And so it looks like he'll be back to push Newman all the way in 2020. So we'll see how this goes. But I really think Georgia are the team to beat in the SEC this year. Now, moving on, we will talk about another quarterback, Derek King. Now, Eric King. Derek King has come from the Houston Cougars to the Miami Hurricanes. Now, for those of you who followed college at all, you will know the Hurricanes have been a trash outfit for the last 10 years. They've been horrible. they've taken some really good high school talent and made them even worse. So I don't know what is going on down there. The culture needs to change. So the Hurricanes have been one of the best football colleges in the country. They cannot seem to catch a break. In 2019, they signed Tate Martell. Martell transferred from the Ohio State Buckeyes. He was supposed to be the answer for a struggling offense. He subsequently lost the battle to incumbent Jaron Williams. And Williams spent most of 2019 with the team before he transferred out too. I know, bear with me. As we enter the 2020 season, the U still have Martell on the roster as well as Nkosi Perry. Now, these two will play backup to Derek King. King is a statistical superstar. He played 4 games last year and again decided to sit out to keep his eligibility there, which I find strange, but that's the way it is these days. In King's 4 years with the Cougars, he had 62% pass completion for almost 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns. This kid can throw the football. My problem is you bring him to the U and they're probably going to turn him into a terrible quarterback. Whatever's happening down there, it's not working. They need to change the culture. They need to change something. I find it very heartbreaking that the U of the late 90s, early 2000s aren't there now. They're just hopeless. So hopefully King goes there and this will lift them back up again, but only time will tell. Third on my list is another quarterback, and the last one on this list is KJ Costello. Now, Costello comes from Stanford and has decided to join Mike Leach and the Mississippi State Bulldogs. This is a strange selection here. I believe every team in the SEC was after him. It was common knowledge that he wanted to join the SEC. LSU was after him, Bama was after him, Texas A&M, and he decided to join Mississippi State. The 6'5", 222-pound, if he can stay healthy, will be a huge asset. That's the thing, if he can stay healthy. I'm not sure he can. The kid has been injured on and off for the last four seasons now. He's going into his 5th year. He spent much of 2019 on the sideline, and he certainly is a risky transfer here. I think he needs to find his 2018 form again. He's going to struggle a bit, but I think if he can find that form, he can take the Bulldogs further than they've gone in the last 5 or 6 years. First of all, he has to win the starting job. So he's up against Garrett Schrader and Keaton Thompson. But I think if Mike Leach can get the best out of him, they could win more than the 6 games they won last year. So hopefully Costello is a big leap forward because Mike Leach definitely needs it because he's starting to fall off the perch a bit. So they're the 3 quarterbacks out of the way. Now let's get down to business. We've got running back Khalil Herbert. No relation to Justin Herbert, just so we know. He left Kansas and has joined Virginia Tech, which is a strange move to join the Hokies. But Herbert enters his 5th year in college and he'll play with the Virginia Tech Hokies. He amassed 1,735 yards from 320 carries in 35 games and scored 14 touchdowns. Yes, I know that's a lot of numbers, but that means he is fast. The man's quick. He's good. He's strong. He's got a good turn of pace, a good step. He can be the future for Virginia Tech for this year only. Obviously, this will be his 5th year. In Kansas, they failed to use him to his full potential, I think. The problem for Herbert is he's going to come up against Raheem Blackshear. Now, Blackshear was a transfer from Rutgers. So Virginia Tech are going to have 2 transfers this year, both playing at running back. A good 1-2 combination, I'm sure. Expect Virginia Tech to be a run-first offense this year. Ground and pound, time after time after time. Give him the ball, run. Next guy, run. It's going to be how it is all year. I expect the Hokies to win the ACC Coastal ahead of the Miami Hurricanes. I know that's a big call, but I expect Virginia Tech will have it over them this year. Look for a strong game against the Virginia Cavaliers. I think that's their first game of the season, so expect Virginia Tech Hokies to turn it on in 2020 and win the ACC Coastal. They will go to the ACC Championship game and they'll play at Clemson, obviously, and will probably get smoked. Let's be honest. Moving on to the defensive side of the football. Now, one of my favorite guys is safety Isaiah Pryor. Pryor leaves the Buckeyes and goes to the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. The Fighting Irish have had a good team to return in 2020. They've got a good offense. They've got a few good guys in the defensive line itself, but they're lacking in the backfield. They lost Alohi Gilman and Jalen Elliott to the NFL, and they lost cornerback Troy Pride as well. So they've got no one in the backfield at all, really, except for 2 freshmen and a sophomore. So having Isaiah come in will certainly help them here. Coming out of high school, this kid was phenomenal. He was on everyone's list. I think it took him 18 months to actually narrow down what school he actually wanted. The 6'2", 205 pound still remain a relative backup for the Buckeyes and couldn't quite get on the field. So I think having him move here will give him a lot more time on the field and will also open up his chances to be drafted higher too. This is a strong fit. I think they produced such good talent over the years that this will only help both teams going forward. So hopefully Pryor's good. I'm not a big Fighting Irish fan, so hopefully they don't do too well, but we'll see how we go. Moving on, this guy, he's one of my favorite. Defensive end at Quincy Roche. Roche comes out of Temple and is going to join the Hurricanes again. Now, I've spoken about this throughout the show. I don't think the Hurricanes are much chop, and they certainly won't win the Coastal this year, but Roche will certainly help them. The versatile 6'4", 235 pound Roche can be used as defensive end and outside linebacker, virtually anywhere the Hurricanes want to use him. He had 35 games at Temple. He recorded 137 total tackles and 26 sacks. That means just under a sack each game. He was the 2019 AAC Defensive Player of the Year. He sees the football really well. He knows what's happening around him. He's got a good football IQ. He's going to be a huge addition to this defense. So they should have him on the left edge, and on the right edge, they'll have sophomore Greg Russell. Yes. And so these two are going to be getting after the quarterback like no one else. So I expect the Hurricanes defense to be back to where they were maybe in the early 90s, but only time will tell. So we'll see how we go. But look, I still think the Hurricanes are going to struggle a lot this year. Hopefully the 2 additions I've just mentioned will help them, but we'll see. Now, this guy, the last guy on my list is defensive end Xavier Kelly. Now, Kelly's a strange prospect. Kelly was a 4-star recruit out of high school and was picked up by the Clemson Tigers. And he spent a bit of time with them, but didn't really get much chance on the field. Now, they've always been a strong defensive side. So he's left the Tigers and he's going to join Arkansas Razorbacks. The 6'4", 305 pound Kelly will be a plug-and-play starter. The Arkansas's defense was absolutely decimated by the 2020 NFL draft. So this kid can play virtually anywhere. I kind of expect him to play defensive tackle straight away, but during the season, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets moved along the line a bit more, starting on the left-hand side and see what happens. So look, folks, they're my top 7 guys you should be watching this year. So let me just go back through to recap. We've got Jamie Newman, the quarterback out of Georgia. We've got Derek King, the quarterback from the Hurricanes. We've got KJ Costello, the new quarterback with Mississippi State. We've got running back Khalil Herbert out of Virginia Tech. We've got safety Isaiah Pryor from Notre Dame. We've got defensive end Quincy Roche, awesome name, also with the Hurricanes. We've got defensive end Xavier Kelly with Arkansas. So definitely check out those guys as the year goes on. Very excited to be finally doing my own show. It's been very nice to have you all. This article is now up on the Sports Talkline network, so go over and have a look. Don't forget to follow me at Spinksy NFL on Twitter and Instagram. And until next week, hooroo.